Welcome to our program Atijo, meaning in my days. So this program is about, we talk to people who went through the Air Force Military School in Jos, and then that's the one for boys, and then the Air Force Girls Military School also in Jos. We kind of want to come and ask you about your experiences, ask you about life now, and just basically have fun. My name, first of all, is Kayode Atobatele. I am also an ex-junior airman of the Air Force Military School in Jos. My number is 82-248. That's one number I'm never forgetting in my life. And today I have with me a co-host, Abisola. Abisola, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to be back again. My name is Abisola Olabode. I am an ex-student, an ex-junior airwoman of the Air Force Girls Military School in Jos. My NAF number, just like Ogake said, is a number I'll never forget, and that's NAF 87-0060. Nice to be here. All
right. Thank you very much. And today we have two guests. We always try and bring on one ex-junior airman and another ex-junior airwoman. And I'm going to actually allow them introduce themselves. So I will go over to. We do this by number. Seniority in the military is forever. These are things you learn about this very, very quickly. So I'll go over to somebody who was my senior and for that reason remains my senior forever. In person of Exjam, Olani, please introduce yourself, my Oga.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you guys for inviting me to be a part of this. I also count it as a privilege, to be counted worthy to be able to contribute to what you guys are doing. So my name is Olani Adesosun. I'm AFMS 80-025. I was in Green Squadron in Air Force Military School. Currently, I'm a software architect. I design software applications, and I also write books. I do quite a number of things, and I'm really glad to be here with you guys.
Awesome, awesome. An entrepreneur, if I do say so myself. And we also have with us an ex-junior airwoman. I'll allow her to introduce herself.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just like our Oga Exjam said, it's actually a privilege to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Nephertiti Okundaye Fabakan. My NAF number is 91-0559. I was part of the champion squadron, which is Red Squadron, no argument.
Yeah.
Right now, I live in the state of Arkansas in a city called Jonesboro. I work as an interventional cardiologist. So to break that down, I'm a heart doctor who does interventions on the heart.
Interesting. So let me ask you a question. I'll start with you, actually. Did somebody break your heart, or how did you end up in becoming a heart doctor?
So that's a very interesting story, but no, nobody broke my heart. My heart is too strong to be broken. I'm a Gamo's girl, remember? However, it's quite funny how I became a heart doctor, because going to medical school, I never thought about cardiology. I actually wanted to be a gynecologist. However, in my third year of medical school, I got a call that my father had passed out. So that was really scary because I thought he had a heart condition. It was at that moment I decided to become a heart doctor.
Awesome. And I'll assume that you've saved a lot of fathers after that, and mothers.
I hope.
So let me start. I'm still with you, actually. I want you to take us back, and I always ask everybody this question. I want you to take us back to, why did you decide to go to a girls' military school? This is the only one that we know of in Africa, probably the first. I'm probably still the only one. There's no precedent. We don't know of any girls' military school. Why did you choose to go to the girls' military school?
So, in all honesty, I didn't choose. My parents chose.
All right.
Of course, my father was in the military, so I guess he made that decision. We all went to Air Force schools, but it was only me and my brother who went to military schools. Yeah, so my parents made the decision, really, not me.
And why do you think they chose you and then left the remaining siblings to go? Were you stubborn, or were you just exceptional? What exactly do you think was their reasoning, where your dad got together with your mom and said, you know what, we're sending this daughter to the military school?
Well, I hope it wasn't because I was stubborn. However, I was the first daughter. And at the time, there was a lot of buzz about the military school in Jos. So definitely my parents wanted me to be a part of that magic. And I'm eternally grateful they did.
All right. Thank you very much. Oga Olani, you were pioneering first set of the Air Force military school in Jos. Why on earth did you get on a plane and go all the way to the middle of Jos to go to a military school? Why?
Well, thank you very much. Like she had said, some of us grew up in the Air Force family. My dad too used to be in the Air Force, and yeah, so we grew up in that environment. And at the time, we found out that we had to go and write a common entrance, and we had a lot of people. I think we were like 2,000 people, and those tests were the whole test that we had during our time was about 15 minutes. 5 minutes questions. And before you're shading, there were, this shading answers and all that. Before you shade 5 answers, you're pens up. So by the time we're leaving, it was Baptist Academy, here in Lagos. So after we all left, we're like, what was going on here? So we just all went home, and hoping for nothing, actually. And suddenly, one day your father comes with a newspaper to come and show you your name, that out of the 6 people that were selected from your state, that your name was there. He showed you. You understand? You're like, oh, really? Oh, you're going to Jos. Jos, how? Lagos boy, 9-year-old boy. How? Jos, where does it come from? So you start to ask yourself what's going to happen. It was just blank. So your father starts to get you ready, and one day you enter a C-130, you land in Kano.
What is a C-130 for those who don't know?
So that's a Charlie. That's a transport aircraft for the Nigerian Air Force. Okay, so it's the transport aircraft the Nigerian Air Force used to carry armaments, carry personnel, and all that. So to say, in our parlance here, call it Imolwe. So to say, so we went in this Charlie. It wasn't going to Jos directly, so we went to Kano. I remember that we got into Kano at about 6, and we got into AFMS at about 9 p.m. Okay, I'll never forget, So that was my story, of how I got into Air Force Military School. What happened on that very night, I don't know whether it's something I should talk about right now.
In fact, actually, now that you actually asked the next question I was going to ask, but I wanted to ask the doctor first, but since you're there, when did it occur to you that your life has permanently changed forever?
Oh, wow. So let me continue the story.
Yes, please.
We got there at 9. So we had to go into to one hall, that eventually became the library. So we were welcomed. And so my father had packed me up, 2 boxes of Ecolac, sardine, baked beans, cornflakes, Ribena, all the works, cabin biscuits. And you get there, and the man tells my father that he has to take them back. And you're like, I didn't hear what he was saying, that you have to take all of these plenty choppies back to Lagos that I was already dreaming about, that I hardly eat in the house. I hardly eat them in the house. So, so that was it. So they took us to our room. I'll talk about this, my classmates, Adita Adelaja. So we grew up, went to the same primary school, first primary school in Keja, in Lagos here. We're classmates. So we now became classmates in AFMS. So by the next morning, I can't remember, we had caught up, oh, Tayo, why are you, and all that. So it was morning now. So we needed to go to the dining hall. And by virtue of our training, our bringing, Ajabota children, okay? And I remember very clearly that they told us we had to go to the dining room. That was about 7 a.m. And so we had this accent, and we're like, myself and Tayo now went to the dining hall. And we're like, what's going on here? We had this, what's going on here, And one officer then, flying officer with their body, now told us that we should come outside. Come outside. You understand? He said we should start frog jump. That we should start frog jump. Frog jump, how? So myself and Tayo now looked at ourselves. What's he saying? You understand? He now called another person to come and show us how to do frog jump. So then I told us to hold our ears and start hunching, like you all know. By the time we did 3, 1, 2, to bust it up. You understand? We're like, what's going on here? You understand? So now I'm going to tell you the funniest part of that story. So eventually they now told us that we should go into the dining hall. So we're angry. We're like, what kind of rubbish guy is this? How can he punish us? We didn't know that we were starting the beginning of our problem of our lives. So at that time, the retired Air Commodore S.I. Tommy was our CI military. So one day, gallant officer, good-looking officer, very good-looking officer. We now saw him, I think the day after that very day. So we wanted to go and report this officer that wanted to suffer us. You understand? So we're very eager. How can this guy suffer us now? When we now went to meet our guy, S.I. Tommy, went to meet him. Good morning, sir. How are you? He says, sir, we just came yesterday. We're trying to go and eat. One officer said we should go and do frog jump. In fact, he looked at us like this. And you know him now. He used to say, shit. He said, shit. That's part of the job. Omo, we became sober. Myself and Tayo, we now turned back. You understand? And left. We didn't know what to do. That's when we knew that yes, we have entered the trap of life.
Yeah,
so that was the life that we actually can recount, you know, how we started the FMS actually.
Thank you. There's always, for everybody actually, there's always that point where you realize, and you think back and realize, this is where I realized I was no longer a civilian. So
exactly.
always interesting. So, right. Doctor, when did you realize that whole the pet's firstborn daughter at home has ended, and that you are now a full soldier in the Nigerian Air Force?
So just like him, you know, after I got the admission and everything, I was so excited. And then my parents had bought lots of provision. I was always looking at my bag. I already started stealing some of them from the house, opened the Milo, started eating the Milo. And then as soon as we got, so we went from Lagos. I think it was also in a C-130, but we went directly to Jos. And so as soon as we got to the gate and everything, just they opened up our bags and they took out all the provisions. So that was number one, all those things I was enjoying on the way. Then the next thing, I was expecting maybe somebody was going to come help me carry my bags and everything. I saw everybody dragging their bags and buckets. I'm like, what is going on here? Someone help me. So I had to, then I was in Purple Squad and I had to drag my bags and everything. So that night was good. You made new friends, cool mother. But by the next morning, you had to wake up by 5:30 or something ridiculous. I'm like, what is going on here? Why do I have to wake up this morning? They say, go fetch water. I'm like, fetch water for what? For who? So it was at that point I realized that, oh no, I wasn't a baby anymore. This was real life. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break, and then after that, we're going to come back and we're going to let Bisola actually ask a few more questions. Thank you. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Atijo in My Days. This is the show where we actually talk to ex-students of the Nigerian Air Force Military School in Jos. Now we want to have Bisola basically ask you some questions.
Okay, so I think I'm going to start with Niyi now. And I just wanted to ask if you would let us into some of the values that you picked up from your experience in the Air Force Military School in Jos that have helped you in your journey of life so far, and how the school impacted you in terms of values. If you'd just like to share that with us, we'll appreciate it.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, like you all know, The first one is discipline. You know, discipline was the watchword. I mean, we were just trained to do things properly. You know, there were no excuses for not doing what you're supposed to do. Punctuality was very critical. You know, it was the how do I call it? I mean, that's the fulcrum of what the military is. You know, so when they tell you that there's a parade for 7 a.m., there is PE for 5 a.m., there is a fire alarm at 1 a.m., you just got to be there. You know, and nobody was interested. I mean, again, when you remember the fact that the military is built on the code, obey before complain. So, which means that whatever you do have consequences. And you would have actually gone through the consequences before you can explain. So, which means that because you don't want to go through the consequences, you just got to do what's right. So the moment you don't do it right, just be ready for the consequences. And that was it. So you may now later explain and all of that, my guy, you are going to go and do your 3 days in the guard room, you know. So you can't now come back and say, okay, this was why I didn't come for PE, or you came back 10 minutes late and all of that. You're like, okay, you now tell yourself there's really no point because you have actually served the job you wanted to give an excuse for. You know, so the experience of the AFMS is unquantifiable, you know, if you have to look at it today. When years back, you know, growing up, people up until now, people say I'm a strict person. People say I'm a disciplinarian. I said, no. I said, look, that's how I was brought up. You know, I was only brought up to do things right. Now, let me tell you how bad it is. It's as bad as you dressing my bed. The bed that I lie on. We were trained in Air Force Military School how to dress a bed. Were we not?
Yeah.
Yes, we were.
Yeah.
You don't dress my bed now. And there's one jaga part. How do you want to do that now? How? You understand? So people see you and just call you a perfectionist, you know, that, you know, you just want everything to be done properly, right? I said, that's it. That's how I was trained. You know, I was only trained to do things and do them properly. If you have to do them, you have to do them properly.
Awesome.
To be honest with you, that is what AFMS has taught me. That's one thing that AFM has taught me, you know. So, and it helps me in everything that I do. It is not very easy to live with civilians. I can tell you for free. It's not very easy. Civilians, how would they are? So you now look at them, you know, they want you to work at their own pace. You know, they have to actually slow you down, you know, not to be as fast as thinking or as fast as behaving as they are. You understand? You're like, well, we're back in the civil life, you know, civil society, you know. But trust me, that experience, that training, that exposure, you know, we're young children who were made to become men earlier than we could ever imagine. We never bargained for it, but it happened to us like that. That's it.
All right, thank you so much, Ogani. I'm also going to put the same question to Dr. Nephertiti. Can you please share with us some of the values that you gained from your experience in the Air Force Girls Military School in Jos, and how those are helping you, you know, through your experience in life, through your journey in life?
Just like Ogani said, for me, the first one was discipline. I mean, I learned to be a very, very disciplined person. I wake up by 4 a.m. every morning, and it's not a big deal. Like it's that's what it is. I just learned that from school until tomorrow. I do it every day. So and definitely I learned it from GAMS. Another thing is I also learned that I can do it. Like, you know, I am, my specialty, it's very male dominated. And people ask me, you're a woman. I'm like, I don't even know that I'm a woman. I just know that I'm a cardiologist. And that's because right from school, we're never taught that you're a woman. We're taught that you can do it. Whatever you want to do, as long as you are disciplined and you put your heart to it, you can do it. So those are the two most valuable things I've learned from school: how to be disciplined and how to realize that there are no barriers. It's just, if I want it, I do it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. And so let me just go back to Ogani quickly again with another question, and then Ogake will take up from there. So Ogani, I want to ask you, what is your opinion of the school of thought that's kind of like suggests that entrepreneurial skills should be incorporated into the curriculum of secondary school students, in view of the way things are presently in Nigeria, the economy of Nigeria, and how graduates are unable to get white-collar jobs? What is your opinion on this school of thought? Do you think schools or the government should start looking in that direction to see how they can incorporate entrepreneurial skills in the curriculum of secondary school students? Ogani.
Thank you. I mean, Kay knows me very well. You also know me. So it's like knowing where I would tilt towards in answering this question, So my opinion is that, yes, it should be incorporated, actually. So I'll probably take my story. So I'm going to use my story. So we all grew up, left military school, went into higher institutions with the hope that we'll come out and get jobs in the banks, in the oil companies and all that. And you'd realize that, yeah, I eventually got those jobs. I mean, I eventually worked in a bank, or in 2 different banks, actually.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I worked in 2 different banks. So you start to do that job, you get into the second bank, and start to ask yourself that, look, no, this is not what I'm caught up for. I'm not caught up for this 9-to-5 thing. No. So, I mean, it's funny that as a young boy, I've been saying I want to be a billionaire. I used to say, I'm never apologetic about it. I've read books about law of attraction. I've read a particular book called The Secret. I'm mentioning The Secret here. It's not the thing I talk about all the time.
Secret.
You've seen The Secret, right?
No, I said it's a secret that you're mentioning it.
so it's actually a secret, but only a few see that secret. I've seen The Secret and I was like, wow. And I started to cast back my life. And I started saying, okay, so this is how people get into stupendous wealth. This is the secret, really. And I told myself that I was going to leave the values of the law of attraction and the secret. So I knew I was going to leave my bank job. So I told my father one day, I said, Daddy, I'm resigning from the bank. Yeah. My father was like, is he mad? Bank work that people are looking for, he wants to resign bank work. I said, Daddy, I'm not asking for your opinion. I'm only telling you so that you're not here outside. And when it was time, I resigned. And I told myself that now that I'm young, let me go and suffer so that I can guarantee my future. Now, let me tell you what I realized. I realized that our uncles, our aunties were getting poorer as they were growing older. So you hear about one of your uncles that had 2 cars 10 years ago, and 10 years after, he doesn't have a car. So I was looking at that trend, and I was asking myself, I said, no, I don't want to be like this. And I think about the Warren Buffetts in the US. And I remember that, look, as they're growing older, they're getting wealthier. And I'm like, yes, these are the kind of people I want to be like, yes. And the only way to do that is to become an entrepreneur. Okay, so I made up my mind that if I'm going to die being an entrepreneur, I prefer to die. And I would die in peace, and I'll rest in peace. And I'll never have any regrets for leaving paid employment. So now, when you look at the age at which I left banking, so bring it back to if all of that experience started in AFMS, okay, as a young child, you know. And interestingly, I'm just even thinking now, I'm just remembering, let me even tell you, as a junior airman in AFMS, I used to snap photographs. I had a Polaroid camera. So I just remembered. If you remember, Kay, I had a Polaroid camera that I used to snap students. You know, these Polaroid cameras that would print, that would print immediately. Yeah. You snap, you understand. And I used to make small quid, even while as a student in AFMS.
Yeah, the photography business.
Photography business. It's funny now that I don't snap photos again. No, before you see me snap photos, I see me now. Oh my God! When somebody says, "Niyi, send me a photo," I'm like, "Photo? Where you do? Where you do?" I don't snap photos again. And I remember those years. Even as a junior airman, I used to snap students. Maybe inter-squadron sports competition. I had that camera, that Polaroid camera, and I'll make whatever 10 kobo and whatever thing that we used to do at that time. So imagine that I was encouraged, all right, at that time, all right, maybe I'll become a billionaire a lot earlier. So we cannot, because the truth about it is that when you look at people who are in paid employment, it's difficult, difficult. I don't know if it's happened. I don't know anybody to be a paid employee and become a billionaire. I don't know who they are. I don't know who they are anyway. So it's only entrepreneurs I see become billionaires. Me, I don't know if there are paid employees that are billionaires. So I start to look at that thinking. So if you bring it to AFMS and say, okay, look, let us incorporate teaching people about, for example, I'll tell you that in retirement, I've told myself that I'm going to be teaching in a business school about technology entrepreneurship, because I spent a whole lot of years developing technology solutions. I know the nitty-gritty to be able to innovate a new solution. I know whether it's going to cut out in the market. I'm quite experienced in that area. So how else won't we tell young people so that they can start to fail early? Because you're going to fail. So if you start to fail early, it makes life a lot easier for you because you can fail forward. You can learn faster. So my opinion about it is that it's a good idea. You understand? If the FMS can decide to do it for our school, aside other schools, we're willing to help, drop the curriculum and all of that. But trust me, I'm in for it. That's what it is.
Thank you.
So, Ogaki, I guess you take it from here.
No, Dr. Nephertiti has to answer your question too.
Okay. Let's hear your opinion, Dr. Nephertiti.
Or was it directed only at Ogani because he's an entrepreneur?
It's fine.
So.
It's fine, but I guess you still have your question for Dr. Nephertiti as well. After that, I guess she can also share her opinion with us.
Yes.
So, Dr. Nephertiti, let's.
No, absolutely. I mean, I don't think I can add more to what he said. Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I think it should be taught from an early age, not even just secondary school, even before that. I mean, like my daughter, the other day, she was just wasting her time watching TikTok videos. And I'm like, why don't you do something? And within a minute, she went to YouTube. She learned how to make lip glosses. And she went ahead and she ordered all the supplies. I'm like, I'm going to invest into this business. And then last week, Friday, she sat down and she made like 100 lip glosses.
Oh, wow.
So absolutely. It's never too early. I agree.
I would like to purchase some. Am I going to be her first customer?
I was her first already, but you hooked me up. You can be the second.
Then let me also quickly add there actually that the TikTok she was watching was not a waste of time, because now she can make a channel of how to make lip gloss on TikTok, and that in itself is a business, is a media business.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just
but having said that, though, I mean, just to add, I don't think that we are all called to be entrepreneurs. That's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have a business, you also want people to work for you, right?
So exactly.
We're all called to do that.
Exactly.
What can be, yeah.
Correct.
Awesome. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you for throwing that in. Then that's interesting. So let me just now, when I think about this, I'm thinking when I look at the products of the military schools, the girls, the boys, there is something. It's almost like they have like a a special ingredient that they imbibe in everybody that makes people go out there and just decide, I don't take no for an answer, right? So if you were in charge of fixing education in Nigeria, 3 things that you will do that does not necessarily translate every other school into a military school, but 3 things that you will change that should have a very large effect. Let's start with Dr. Nephertiti first, and then we'll get Gani's opinion.
Okay, this is a very interesting question. I'm just going to kind of piggyback from what I learned from AFGMS.
Okay.
So like the first thing I said was discipline. So I think that, you know, kids have to be taught that you have to be disciplined. There's really no way you can succeed in this life if you do not know how to be disciplined. So from I think in AFGMS, we're taught to delay self-gratification. You would have to go to, and so what do I mean by that? You remember in our junior years, we were made to quote unquote serve our seniors.
Yeah.
And then we eventually became seniors and other people's, again, I don't know if that the right word is serve, because I don't want parents to think that their children are servants. But you were made to do things. For example, you were made to iron the clothes of your senior, fetch water. It was seen as punishment. But however, in retrospect, those things help discipline us. So I think that should be part of the curriculum. I mean, children are very malleable. It may hurt them, but at the end of the day, it will help them. So that's number one thing I can do, that I will do if I had the opportunity. Number 2, I want people to realize that the sky is not your limits. There is nothing that you cannot achieve. So we must let our children dream big. You know, one problem I think I have with the educational system in Nigeria is it's very limited. You know, we're not made to dream. You know, we just thought, especially university education, just get a degree in political science. You know, it's more than that. You must let them dream and realize that, you know, there's nothing they cannot achieve, and then give them those opportunities to achieve their dreams. That's number 2. What else would I do? We said 3. What else did I learn from Gamos? Well, mentorship, because like I talked about serving, there was also that mentorship. You were kind of paired with somebody. It was called school mother, school father, but it was a way for the juniors to learn from the seniors. So from a young age, I think there should be a lot of mentorship, people who have gone ahead of you, pair them together and learn from them. So those are the 3 things I think that I learned from Gamos that I think if you put it everywhere, it would also help.
Thank you very much. Ogani, you're next. 3 things that you will change across education in Nigeria that should make a major impact or change.
Okay, I think the first thing I'll talk about is the mindset. Okay, so our education is where it is because of the mindset. People go through school and they're told to come and look for jobs. They're not told to create jobs. That is wrong. Okay? Now, when you get out of school, if you see Nigeria as it is, I mean, you guys are in the US at the moment, you know. In this country, you see a lot of young people that are not doing anything. Why? Because they got out of school hoping that they were going to push out their CVs, and somebody who has actually labored to start some venture would employ them. I say no. So we must start to think about how we'll be the creators of stuff. You know, so why do you want to come and work where somebody has actually created the job? Why are you not thinking about creating the job yourself? So that mindset has to change. You know, when you're getting out of school, like we talked about the issue of entrepreneurship, so it starts from there. I go to do workout in the Air Force Base almost every other evening. You know, I've slowed down now because of work. And there's somewhere in the Air Force Base where they teach kids coding. You know, it's a small property. So I walk through that place and I sit and I smile. And I see them to tell them, oh, I have to come and learn about robotics, I have to come and learn about IoT, come and learn about machine learning, and I smile in my mind. When I walk past that place, at times I'm like, okay, Nick, can you go into this place and go and tell them that, no, this curriculum is to make them become employees. Can I come and help you guys start to teach people how they can start businesses by themselves, even at age 12? So which means that when the guy is coming out from that place, he already understands everything that he needs to know about becoming a business owner. After learning robotics, he's going to go and start up a company rather than just start robotics and say he's becoming an employee. Funny. I mean, that's something that I've thought about just around me here. You get it? Again, leadership. You can't take away leadership. All of these things we're talking about, leadership has to change. You know, look at what Nigeria is going through right now. Look at how the Nigerian government are treating medical doctors. The best brains that we have. When I think about the medical doctors, I feel like crying in Nigeria. I'm telling you the truth. I'm not a medical doctor. When I think about how medical doctors are treated in this country, at times my eyes are laden with tears because these were the best brains when we were in school. These were the guys that were making 8 A1s in school, in WAEC. They were the guys we were looking up to. They knew everything. They were brilliant people. They go through school, they come out of school, you treat them the way you're treating them now, and give respect to people that did 4-year courses. I say, no. No. Anybody who does not have the proper mindset, who does not have the right thinking, shouldn't be leading our educational sector. It should not happen. Someone who has the proper mindset and thinking should be somebody that should be put there. Look, if we talk about the US today, why is the US the way it is? Because it's a knowledge-driven environment that is properly rewarded. That is properly rewarded. So if you become a medical doctor and you're in the United States, you're properly rewarded for it. Which means that for the fact that you've gone through school to be able to acquire a degree in medicine and probably take some professional courses and probably grow your career, you deserve to be rewarded. So that's only possible if those who are in leadership understand value, all right, and place a premium on people that deserve what they deserve. And pretty much that's what it is. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to talk about as the third one, but please, you can go ahead.
So I guess the third one is embedded within the first two that you talked about.
Oh, absolutely, that's what it is. That's just the truth of it.
All right, so final question for the day, except Bisola has any other question. Bisola?
So I just wanted to ask like a fun fact question. So can you just tell us
before the fun fact, let me ask them a tougher one so that they can relax with the
okay.
they can relax with it. So before the fun fact, well, it's not really tough, it's actually advice, right? So here you are many years after military school, right? For maybe over 20 years, right? Or 30 years. Here you are. Now, I want you to go back in time and look at a young version of yourself, still in military school, experiencing what you experienced 30, 40, 20 years ago, right? Now that you've seen the future and you're here now, what is the advice you'll give to that person who is having the same worries that you had, the same thoughts, the same questions about life that you had? What advice would you give them right now that you've seen the future? So think of your own self back then. What will you tell yourself? I'll go with the doctor first.
Well, what I would tell myself is, Nephertiti, today is made from yesterday. The things you do yesterday will determine how today will be. I would also tell myself to be more patient, because no matter how hard things are, they will get better with time. I would tell myself to laugh more and have a lot of fun, because you won't always have that opportunity. To make friends, to love everybody, because, and then to avoid competition, unnecessary competition, because those people you compete with today, you rather yesterday, you should have just enjoyed the moment with them, learn from them, and be a better person because of them. These are the things I'll tell myself.
Thank you very much. That's really good. Ogani, what will you tell that guy with the Polaroid photo that is taking photos all over?
Exactly.
Now, what are you going to go back and tell him?
Okay, so this is what I tell a young person, you know, who was my age, who's there now, you know, is that life is not a bed of roses. So I realized that while we were growing up, our parents never told us what we're going to look forward to in life, okay? So they never sat us down to be able to educate us and tell us, look, everything that we went through mostly were things we discovered by ourselves. You know, life is not a bed of roses. And whatever you're going to become in life, you're going to use your hand to become whatever you're going to become. Your parents have done their best by sending you to a military school. Look, as an adult, I have had to be at loggerheads with my father, because while he's thinking I should go left, and I'm like, Daddy, no, I'm going to go right. You know, I'm too independent-minded for him. You know, yeah, I'm too independent-minded for him. Now, he never told me about how life was going to be for me, you know. But again, every time I get angry with him, I remember that, oh, this man sent me to FMS. So in fact, I tell him at times, I said, Daddy, I do WhatsApp with him. I said, Daddy, thank you for sending me to FMS. Thank you. You know, thank you. Thank you. I'm telling you, I do that with my dad. You know, I say, I'll just remember some things, you know, I'm like, Daddy, thank you. He's alive. You can celebrate him. You know, it's okay, look, this man, I mean, you just appreciate him for the fact that it was the best gift. FMS was the best gift, I think. Do you understand? So for a child that's grown up now, life is tough. Life is not a bed of roses. You have to live up to it, okay? As a young child, people are going to throw stones at you, but the child has to be focused. There are going to be a lot of distractions. People are going to tell you all manner of stuff. They're going to discourage you, tell you how you're not going to become anything in life, you understand? You got to make up your mind, despite all the odds, all right, that you can make it. And truly, you can make it. That's what it is.
Very, very, very much. All right. This is how you can give them the light ones now.
Okay, so I think I'll just continue from Ogani since he just spoke. So just share with us one fun fact, maybe some incident that occurred in back in the day in AFMS that you would never forget, you know, probably just something silly. Were you involved in any activities, maybe sports or whatever? Just share with us and so we can have a good laugh.
When you're asking for this, then you want us to laugh from now to tomorrow.
Just tell us one or two. That'll be fine.
Okay, so let me tell you one. So as an Exjam, my best friend was the next person in number to me. We all went to Air Force Primary School together in Lagos, Ikeja in Lagos. Okay. His name is Okundaye, baby. My childhood friend, best of friends. I love him so much. We still talk, we're still close. So, you know what we used to do? When we're homesick, we'll go to Control Tower. You know that our Control Tower? Yeah, we go to Control Tower. We'll not sneak to Control Tower. He wants to call home. He wants to call home. Oh. So like we're homesick, we're like, you know, we'll not get there. When we'll not climb the window. Everyone will be quiet at night. Around 9 o'clock, we'll not climb the window everywhere so that nobody will know we're climbing there. Oh. You know, we'll not tap the line. You know how we used to tap line that time? He will not manage, maybe he will not get through, you understand, you know. When we'll not finish, you know, he will not call home. Hello, Emini, hello. We will not talk. Do you know what used to happen to us? Both of us will start crying. Both of us will start crying. You know what we'll do? We'll not put hands on each other's head. But they you know, but they so we're not, and we're in the same room, we're in the same squadron. So we'll now go back and go and continue our suffering. You understand? So that's one. Let me tell you the last one. Now, we had this instructor. He was a pilot officer then, Manugweji, the same Manugweji. So it was evening games. And we were doing evening games and everything, you know. And of course, everybody knew Manugweji as a very, very tough person. And suddenly he calls me. It was evening games on a Wednesday, evening sports that we used to have at that time. Alani! I said, sir. I ran down to go and meet him. You know, what do you, sir? He said, how are you? I said, fine. So the man started gisting with me. Oh, we're not going down school. So we're gisting, you know, you understand? You know, talking with me generally, you know, gisting, we're laughing and all of that. He now took me to their police office, you understand? He said, lock him up.
Sorry, what does that mean? For those who don't understand, what does that mean? Lock him up.
He should go and put me in the guard room.
What?
In the military, the guard room is a confinement. Listen, you know, on Friday. So when he puts you in a guard room on Friday, there's a tendency that you will come out only on Monday. Listen, you know, now, you know, said they should put me in guard room, okay. This man that was gisting with me now, listen, you know, I was expecting him on Saturday. He didn't come. He now came on Monday morning. I said, I forgot to, I think I put someone in guard room here. I think I put someone in guard room here. Oh, I put someone in guard room here. I just remembered now. My dear, you know, the stories of the FMS cannot be fully told. It cannot be fully, you know, you just get one shocker per minute at one point, and you know, so I don't take all of our time. Let me just stop there.
Thank you very, very much.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Okay. And the same question for Dr. Nephertiti. Share with us one fun fact, maybe one or two incidents that you remember that have stayed with you forever and you will never forget.
So, you know, it's funny because when Okundaye started talking, I now started remembering some mischievous things that we did. I'm not even sure if I should share some of them, but let's go though. So, you know, it's funny because my friends discovered how to turn off the power of the school. So there were nights that we did. So you remember we used to have prep time. I think it was like 7 to 9 or something. And there were some nights we just were not interested in going for prep. We would just go and turn off the power.
Wow.
And this was like in SS1 or something. How we learned that, I have no idea. Then another time, we now figured how to go into the commandant's office and make phone calls. So after parade, you know, we used to have, after parade, instead of us going back to our classes, we would sneak into the commandant's office and make phone calls. But to be fair to me, though, my phone calls were for good. Because at the time, I was trying to write JAM. And I needed my parents because the school would not do it for you. I was in SS2 because we used to write JAM in SS3. But I decided, again, part of the I can do it. I decided to write JAM in SS2. So I had to call my parents to tell them to buy the form and stuff like that. And do you know what? That was actually what made me get into university early. Because when I got to SS3, for some reason, that particular year in 96, there was no JAM. So everybody had to wait till 97 to write JAM. So everybody who graduated in 96 had to wait for one more year. But because I took my JAM in 95 and luckily I passed, I was able to get into university as soon as I left school. So it was mischievous, but then again, it helped us.
Oh, wow, that's nice. Very interesting.
By any chance, did any of the you don't have to mention names, did any of the junior air women who turned off the electricity turn out to be engineers?
It's funny enough, no. One of them is like an artist. No, I mean, we're just mischievous, whatever.
All right. Thank you so much. Bisola, any other questions?
No, that will be it for this episode. And It's just been so great having both of you here. We really appreciate you honoring us with your presence. It's been a good time, very insightful, very informative. We hope that when next we call on you, you'll be willing to turn up again and share more of your experiences, and so we can pick from your wealth of knowledge as well. Dr. Nephertiti, it's been really nice having you here. Thank you so much. I know you're very busy in spite of your schedule, but irrespective of that, you still were willing to come on. We really, really appreciate you. And so same goes for Ogani. We are so thankful. We know that it's really late in Nigeria now and you're also very busy, but we want to thank you for honoring us with your presence. We hope that when next we call on you again, you'll be willing to oblige us with your presence. So Ogake, just parting words. And what we usually do is just to part with our NAF numbers. So can we just have you say your goodbyes? Let me start with Ogani.
Well, again, my name is Olani Adesosun. I'm AFMS 80/025, Green Squadron, and I've taken over the champion squadron from Nephertiti.
Nephertiti Okundaye Fairbacan, 91/0559, Forever Champion Squadron, Red Squadron.
Okay. And Ogake, your parting words.
Well, so thank you very much for coming. We know how difficult it is to schedule all these things. So we know that you actually have to do a whole lot of rescheduling in order to be able to make this happen. So we really, really, really appreciate the fact that you took time off to make this happen. And on behalf of the younger Nephertiti, who is now 10, 11, and the younger Olani, who is now 10, 11, 12, somewhere in the world, who will get to see this, I am thanking you for telling them what they will meet in future. So thank you so much. And I hope that we can always have you come back for other times. My name is Kayode Atobatele. I am an ex-junior airman of the Air Force Military School in Jos. And my number is AFMS 82/248. Signing off.
And my name is Abisola Olabode, and an ex-junior airwoman of the Air Force Girls Military School in Jos. My NAF number 87/0060. We hope to see you on the next episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.